Good morning, and welcome to the African Weekly Talk. Today's subject on the docket is about a visit by an American rapper by the name of Meek from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to Ghana, and a video that has generated a lot of buzz on social media with his video of the Jubilee House, which happens to be the seat of government of the Republic of Ghana. And in that video, you see Meek Mill rapping, singing, standing behind the presidential lectern with the coat of arms of the Republic of Ghana on it, and rapping and singing, which in turns shows a sign of disrespect to the presidency and the Republic of Ghana. Now, this happens in the wake of Ghana also bestowing citizenship to African Americans, people from the Caribbean, and Black people from all the diaspora. Bestowing citizenship to them as promised by the government of Ghana some years ago, especially during the year of return. But I beg to ask this question: how did it get to this point where you have an American rapper, musician, use the seat of government of a country to shoot a music video? How did it get to this point? I mean, is it because of the publicity that the year of return has generated all over in America in particular? Has that created a situation where the government of Ghana has turned a blind eye to certain things that needs to be done, especially when it comes to celebrities? Because there have been a lot of celebrities who have been coming to Ghana for some years now. But since the year of return, there has been pretty much steady return of celebrities. I mean, as a matter of fact, I saw Dwayne Wade and his wife, Gabriel Union, down there a couple of months ago, about somewhere around December or November. And if you look at what is happening in terms of these celebrities flocking to Africa, especially Ghana, they go down there and they get the red carpet rolled down for them, being treated like royalties, giving them all the respect and everything, which is all well and good. There's nothing wrong with that, but the problem with this is that you don't allow anybody, I don't care who it is, in any country, let alone Ghana, to have a musician use your seat of government to shoot a music video. Are you kidding me? Your seat of government. I mean, this thing will never happen. I mean, this will not even happen in Nigeria. Never. There's no way the Nigerian people or the Nigerian government will even allow something like it. He won't even dare try it down there, because he will know it before he gets there. It's not going to happen. But for Ghana to bend backwards in the name of year of return, to allow some of these celebrities to come to Ghana and treat Ghana's seat of governance, I mean, the presidential home and pride of the people of Ghana, in a music video? I mean, give me a break. Give me a break. I mean, this is ridiculous. This thing should never have happened. You see, but let me tell you guys something, fellas. You see, I don't blame Meek Mill for this. I get the hoopla of everything that has happened and all of that. I get that. It's a disgrace, period. But you know what? I don't blame Meek Mill. How do you blame Meek Mill? Meek Mill didn't get out from Philadelphia and fly to Ghana and then decide I'm going to just go to the Jubilee House and just shoot a video as my music video. No. Somebody has to give him the authority for him to do that. And that is where the responsibility, the blame game has to go to. Those people who gave him that authority to shoot that video, those are the ones who have to be held accountable. And I definitely believe it's not just security agents in Ghana who gave him the authority. This goes all the way to the top of government in Ghana. So Meek Mill shot the video because he was given the right to shoot a video. I mean, he shot a video standing behind the presidential lectern with a coat of arms of the Republic of Ghana on it. So, I mean, we're not talking about him just shooting videos on the compound. I mean, he's shooting videos all over the place, including standing behind the lectern with the coat of arms of Ghana on it. So he must have been given the authority. That's what happened. He was given the authority to do it. So I don't blame Meek Mill. I blame the authorities and the government of Ghana for this disgrace that have happened. Because if they had not given him the authority to do that, he would dare never have done that. But they gave him the authority to do that. And that is the problem that has been going on in Ghana when it comes to these celebrities flocking to Ghana and, being treated with royalty and all that stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. Let them have that fun. Let them enjoy everything. But when it comes to your culture and your pride, you don't give that away for anything. And that is what they have done. They have thrown the pride of a great country into the trash and allowed something like this to happen. And unfortunately, a lot of these people in these government agencies and all that stuff, they would sell their souls for just a little dollar. And I wouldn't be surprised that is what happened. Because a lot of these people will sell their souls. They will sell their souls for a damn little dollar into their pockets. Because when you're dealing with a corrupt system, when you're dealing with a country that is so corrupt, with fraud, involving all the government agencies, with all the government higher ups, politicians and ministers and the seat of government and all of them. When you're dealing with countries with that level of corruption, why would you be surprised? Why would you be surprised to see a musician coming from another country use your seat of government to shoot a video? All he has to do is just give him a couple of dollars and they will take it and let him do whatever he wants to do. And that's pretty much what happened. And that's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because you're looking at the situation going on right now in Ghana. And you have an economic situation where you're talking about the depreciation of your currency, the higher inflation to some extent. Some people, some people making the argument that inflation is over 170%. And you look at the debt crisis going on. You look at the debt to your GDP ratio, which is over 100%. To the extent that the government of Ghana, just a couple of weeks ago or a week ago, decided to suspend its responsibility of paying the interest of its debts. This is what we are talking about. We are talking about a country in such a serious economic crisis. And then you have the news media of your country talking about Meek Mill's video. This is not to downplay Meek Mill's video. It's a very sad and bad PR, period. This thing should never have happened. But there are more serious issues going on right now in that country. The hardship, the corruption, the economic hardship that a lot of people are going through in that country today. That is what the media should be talking about every damn day in that country. For people to be aware of the economic mess that the government of Ghana, having sold these Euro bonds for about $5 to $11 billion in the past 5 years, and don't have anything to show for it, and to put this country in this such economic mess. That is what should be talked about by the media of Ghana. That should be at the forefront of every news in that country. Because right now, as I'm speaking, because of that debt crisis that has created so much economic hardship for the people, the citizens, that has created all this high inflation, has created this higher prices of goods and services, all this suffering. That should have been the main issue that the media of Ghana should always be talking about. But unfortunately, most of these media houses in most African countries, they are more or less in the pockets of the governments in power at the time. So they don't even dare try to raise any objection to economic policies or fraudulent issues or corruption going on. So they tend to turn a blind eye to these things. So they will jump on something that have no direct economic bearings to the citizens of their countries. So it's more convenient for them to use something else rather than looking at the key drivers of the sufferings of the very citizens that they represent. But now, it's not only just the media. What about the civic societies in your country? The civic societies. They are all corrupt. You see, all those people there, they get $1 from the government in power, then they shut up. Because they are all a bunch of corrupt organizations. Because all they all need is what? The dollar. That's all they all need. At the end of the day, they have one or two of them who speak up, which is good. But majority of them are all in the pockets of these governments. So at the end of the day, basically, instead of them representing the interest of the citizens of their various countries, they just get their dollars in their pockets and represent the interest of the governments in power, which is very, very sad. It's not just Ghana. It's in Nigeria. You go to South Africa. You go to Ethiopia, Kenya, Zimbabwe, all of Africa. It's all over there. They're all the same. There's not that much difference from Ghana all the way to South Africa, to Egypt, to Morocco, to Tunisia, or to Nigeria. They are all the same. The media houses there are all a bunch of corrupt media institutions who always need some dollars from the government in power, and they do the dirty work for the governments. That's all they are. You just have one or two few media agencies that will speak up and tell the truth. But majority of those media houses in most of African countries are corrupt. There's no two ways about that. But now going back to the issue of Meek Mill. I don't blame Meek Mill for what happened, like I said earlier. Because if we are going to blame Meek Mill, then where does the responsibility of the government of Ghana lies? Because it is the responsibility of the government of Ghana to make sure that something like this never happens, especially when you're talking about the seat of government of a Republic of Ghana. I mean, seat of government of every country should be sacred. Period. Meek can shoot videos if he wants to shoot videos. There's nothing wrong with that. But he can shoot videos by using cardboard cuts of the Jubilee House on a park somewhere in Ghana. But to go to the official residence of the presidency of the Republic of Ghana and shoot video in there, that is where I have a problem with. I mean, I like Meek Mill. I listen to Meek Mill's music. I have no problem with Meek Mill. I have no qualms with him. My problem is the government of Ghana giving the authority for him to use the seat of government of a great country and put it in such a big disgrace to the world. That is where I have an issue with. I mean, this thing that happened in Ghana will never happen in the White House. I mean, it's not even going to be close. I mean, not even in front of the White House. It won't even happen. I mean, that doesn't mean that Meek Mill cannot visit the White House. I think Meek Mill has been to the White House. He can visit there, just like any citizen of America. But the fact of the matter is using that place to shoot a music video. That is where the problem is. And the thing about these celebrities, African Americans coming to Ghana and Africa lately is that most of these celebrities, when they come to Africa, they get a red carpet rolled down for them. And now they become aligned with the governments in power. You know, these same celebrities align themselves with some of these corrupt African governments. So basically, they are more or less in bed with these corrupt African governments. They don't speak up against the level of corruption. They don't speak up against the abuses. They don't speak up against the undemocratic processes that goes on in most of these African countries. Because at the end of the day, they are being treated like royalty in most of these African countries. So they shut the hell up whilst there. Then when they come to America, that is the double standard about most of these celebrities. When they come to America and you have a Republican in the White House, then every little thing, you same celebrities will have a news media outlet and then talk about abuses, racism, discrimination, all that stuff, which is all well and good. There's nothing wrong with that, to speak up against things like that. But if you're going to do it when you are in your own country of America and you love Africa, like you claim you do, then when you go to Africa, then you have to be able to also stand up and speak to these corrupt governments. These abuses, human rights abuses that goes on in most of these African countries, undemocratic processes, then you have to be able to stand up and speak up against these issues as well. It doesn't matter whether you're in Africa or you're in America or Europe or Asia. You should be able to stand up for the same rights of every citizen that you stand up for when you're in America. But unfortunately, like I said, because they go to Africa, they get a red carpet rolled down for them. Become buddies with the presidents of most African countries. So they turn a blind eye to the level of corruption that has created a lot of the level of hardship, poverty, economical downturn in most African countries because of these economic policies by these governments. They turn a blind eye to that. And it's not just Meek Mill. You can go down the list. A lot of these celebrities, anytime they visit Africa, you hear them, you see them on social media, and you see them with the presidents and, you know, being given this royalty treatment and all that stuff. But they don't speak up. They don't speak up. But let me tell you guys something. See, you guys need to speak up. If you want to see Africa to become a better Africa for you guys and your children and future generations of African Americans and blacks from the diaspora to go to Africa, then you have to start and speaking up against the level of corruption, human rights abuses, the undemocratic processes. Because at the end of the day, when Africa becomes better, it becomes better for everybody, including your children, your grandchildren, and the future generations of African Americans, as well as blacks in the diaspora. So if you believe in talking about situations that happen in America and other parts of the world, then when you go to Africa, you should be able to stand up and say something about that too down there. Don't let your royal treatment by these corrupt governments foreshadow your good heart and intentions. Speak up, just like you would do when you're in the United States of America, you know. But unfortunately, they don't do it. Unfortunately, they don't. They don't. You know, they just take their pictures, you know, have their royal visits to the various countryside of these African countries, you know, museums and all that stuff, historical places and all that stuff. And at the end of the day, they just come back to the United States of America, you know. And I think the level of cooperation that sometimes some of these governments in Africa give to some of these celebrities is also part of the problem that has contributed to this Meek Mill video issue. Because at the end of the day, in the name of the Year of Return, which has been a great thing for the Ghana and African Americans going back to Ghana, that's one of the best programs that the Ghanaian government did for African Americans and people from the Caribbean and the blacks in the diaspora and all that stuff, which is very good. But there has to also be some sort of accountability when it comes to certain things that people can do when they visit your country, especially when you are talking about your seat of government. Your seat of government is a sacred place and should never never, never be allowed by any celebrity, I don't care who it is, to use it to shoot a music video, to showcase your seat of government to the world. I mean, that is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. But anyway, so unfortunately, this thing has happened, and to my understanding, he has apologized for doing the video. But I don't blame Meek Mill. And I hope you people will come to your senses and understand the problem is not Meek Mill. The problem is the government that allowed such a disrespectable situation to happen in your country. So I'm going to end here and say this. You guys have a great week. Peace and love. God bless you. And if it's Sunday, it's the African Weekly Talk.